Okay, I want you to picture the most high-tech, sophisticated purification plant you can possibly imagine. Now, what if I told you that you've got two of them working inside you 24/7? Today, we are diving deep into the body's ultimate filter.
We spend a lot of time thinking about filtering our drinking water. But our body is already running a system that is way, way more advanced on all the fluid that's inside us, keeping everything in perfect balance. So the real question is, what exactly is it filtering out?
Well, the answer is kind of simple, really. It's just life. The very act of being alive, from flexing a muscle to just thinking a thought, creates this constant stream of byproducts. And if your body doesn't deal with them, you're in some serious trouble.
The main piece of waste we're talking about here is ammonia, which comes from breaking down proteins. And let me tell you, ammonia is seriously toxic stuff. If your body just let that build up, it would be an absolute disaster. So evolution had to come up with a really elegant solution to get rid of it safely.
And this is the crucial balancing act for survival, right? Getting rid of the waste is totally non-negotiable. But for any creature living on land, water is this precious resource you have to hang on to. You can't just flush everything out with tons and tons of water. This single challenge has driven some of the most incredible innovations in all of evolution.
So, how did life solve this fundamental problem? Well, it turns out the answer really depends on where you live. Evolution came up with some pretty ingenious tricks, all centered around that one core challenge: managing toxicity while saving every single precious drop of water.
All right, so let's check out the two extremes. If you're a fish, hey, you're surrounded by water. You can just let that toxic ammonia go right into your environment, and poof, it's diluted instantly. Problem solved. But what if you're a bird? You do not have that luxury. So birds convert their waste into uric acid, that white, pasty stuff, which needs almost zero water to get rid of. It is a brilliant adaptation for life where water is scarce.
So where do we fit in? Well, mammals, including us, we kind of perfected the middle ground. Our liver does the first amazing step. It takes that highly toxic ammonia and converts it into a much, much safer compound called urea. Now, urea still needs some water to be flushed out, but it's the perfect compromise for living on land. And the organ that manages that whole flushing process, well, that's the star of our show. So, which organ is in charge of managing all this urea and filtering our blood? It's time to meet the human kidney. And this thing, it's not just some simple filter. It's a high-tech purification and regulation system all rolled into one. And get this, they're incredibly compact. Each one is only about the size of your fist, but do not let that small size fool you. The processing power that is packed into this little organ is just staggering. Packed inside each one of your kidneys are about 1 million microscopic filtering units. They're called nephrons. I want you to think of each nephron as one single tiny factory, and you have an army of 1 million of these factories in each kidney, all working together at the same time.
So, what are all those tiny factories actually doing? Brace yourself for this number. Combined, your kidneys filter about 180 liters of fluid out of your blood every single day. That's almost 50 gallons. I mean, picture 90 of those big 2-liter soda bottles. Your body processes that much fluid day in and day out. It's an absolutely mind-boggling amount. I mean, just look at the priority the body gives this job. At any given moment, about a fifth, 20% of all the blood your heart pumps out goes straight to your kidneys. That just shows you how critical this job is. They are constantly sampling, cleaning, and balancing your entire blood supply.
All right, time to zoom in. We are going inside one of those 1 million nephron factories to see how this masterpiece of biological engineering actually works. And it's a super precise 3-stage process.
The best way to think about it is like cleaning out a really messy bag. Step 1, you just dump the whole thing out on the floor. Everything. Step 2, you carefully go through and pick up only the valuable things you absolutely want to keep. And then step 3, you do one last sweep and toss in any little bits of trash you missed. So let's break that down.
The first step, filtration, is all about brute force. It happens in this tiny little structure right at the start of the nephron. Here, your blood pressure literally squeezes all the small stuff out of your blood: water, salts, sugar, and of course, waste like urea. Only the big things, like your blood cells and proteins, are large enough to stay behind. It's basically a high-pressure sieve.
Okay, so remember that insane 180 liters that gets filtered every day? If we actually peed all of that out, we wouldn't survive for more than an hour. That is where step 2, reabsorption, comes in. And this number right here,
It's probably the most important one in this whole process. Your body actively reclaims over 99% of everything it just filtered. All that work just to throw away 1%?
So what exactly is in that 99% that we're so desperate to keep? Well, it's everything your body can't afford to lose. We're talking glucose for energy, amino acids to build proteins, essential electrolytes like sodium, and of course, a massive, massive amount of water. The nephron actively pulls all of this good stuff out of the what will be urine and returns it to your blood. All right, this is the final quality control check. After the body has reclaimed all the good stuff, the walls of the nephron do one last sweep of the blood. They actively pull out any remaining junk, like extra potassium or things that could make your blood too acidic, and they dump them into the filtrate. It's this final fine-tuning that keeps your blood chemistry in that perfect, delicate balance.
But here's the thing. This whole factory isn't just running on some fixed setting. Oh no. It is constantly being adjusted and fine-tuned by a super sophisticated control system to meet your body's specific needs at any given moment, especially when it comes to saving water.
So how does the body manage to pull even more water out at the very last minute? Well, the trick is actually kind of brilliant in its simplicity, and it all relies on a basic law of physics. Water always follows salt. So, mammals evolved a way to create a super salty environment deep inside the kidney just for this very purpose.
So here's the game plan. You see that big U-shaped tube called the loop of Henle? Its main job is to actively pump salt out, creating that super salty zone deep down in the kidney. Then, the final tube, the collecting duct, has to pass right through that salty area on its way out. And because of osmosis, water is just naturally pulled out of that tube and back into the body, one last time. This is how your body can make really concentrated urine and save that final, crucial bit of water.
So who's calling the shots here? Who's managing this whole operation? Well, that's where hormones come in. Think of them as the factory's shift managers. For instance, if you start getting dehydrated, your brain releases something called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. ADH basically tells the kidneys to make those collecting ducts even leakier to water, so you save as much as possible. Or if your blood pressure drops, a different hormone, aldosterone, tells the kidneys to save more salt. And hey, where salt goes, water follows. It's an incredibly elegant feedback loop.
And the result of all of this incredible fine-tuning? Just wild efficiency. This ability to concentrate our urine is a key adaptation for life on land, allowing us to thrive even in places where water isn't always easy to find. It is a true testament to the power of this system.
So let's just wrap up with this one last thought. Remember that incredible 180 liters a day? Well, that's the equivalent of filtering your body's entire supply of blood about 60 times over the course of a day. They are the silent, tireless guardians of your entire internal world. So maybe the next time you pour a glass of water, just give a little nod of thanks to the ultimate filters doing all the real work inside,